I've got a couple of announcements to make as well. Today's bag lunch day after Sangha, and as usual we meet over at Regal Park just for half an hour, 45 minutes, casual get together. I encourage everyone to come, whether you're at home and able to make it or here. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is our sutra copying.
Can everybody hear Marilyn?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me on Zoom? No, they can't hear me.
One no and some a little. So is that microphone?
Yeah, that's.
Does that need to be closer?
Looks
Be good.
good. I'll just change the.
Can you hear me now? How's that? Is that better? Yes?
It's up all the way.
Maybe to move the microphone closer?
That's the question. Yeah, it's turned up as much. Oh, that was last time. Come on. Someone's, yeah, we know.
The volume on my computer too.
Okay, you got thumbs up.
How's that sound? Is that better?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to review with you what this sutra copying project is about. I realize it might be daunting to many folks to, copy these characters. Oh, no. We're not copying. We're tracing. So, yes. When you arrive, we will get one page of these kanji characters, which are part of the Heart Sutra. Okay, that's it. One page. You'll receive some tracing paper that will have paper clipped. And, sorry, my eye really hurts today. And a felt tip pen. And then you'll just trace the characters as you see them. It does not have to be perfect. We're not striving for perfection. We're just having you participate in this. It's like a meditation practice in Japan. Yes, Marianne?
Is this is what's taking place as part of the tea?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, this is part of the tea.
This Sunday, yeah. So
This Sunday, that's right.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. It's part of the tea. So we'll have this at the end of at the last part of the tea, the time we've allotted. So you'll put this, you'll trace this page, and on the back, because one of our members asked about that, is an explanation of what it is you're copying, and so it'll have the English translation for you. And then at the end of that, so there are about 45 or 50 of these pages, because it's the Heart Sutra, and we're going to put them all together in a row, all of these tracing paper pages, as like a mala of the Heart Sutra. Yes, Marianne?
Oh, I didn't. I was just adjusting my glasses.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, and that's it. That's all there is to it. I don't anticipate it taking very long. I do want to give you a brief introduction, of how they do it in Japan and how you don't really have to know what you're actually doing or actually tracing it. I mean, because it's all just this harmonious participation in the Heart Sutra. And that's it. So we encourage you to come and look forward to seeing you there. Are there any questions? I will supply you everything, yes, Susan?
I just want to talk to the people on the computer too.
Oh, any questions from our Zoomers? Sorry. Hi. Everybody's okay. All right. Yes.
When we do our tracing, will we be able to take that home, or do you want it, or will it be kept somewhere?
It'll be, okay, we're going to take each of these sheets and keep them strung together.
Okay.
Right.
Great.
I suppose if you want to keep your sheet, you could do that. This sheet that you trace from, you could keep that.
Oh, okay. The fragment of.
The fragment, yes. Yes. All right, but I just thought it was a really cool project to have each one of us participate doing the Heart Sutra and then actually stringing it all together around the Zendo. So I plan to bring these sheets in as for the duration of our practice period and just hang it around the Zendo for each sitting until we bow out. Okay? All right? Okay, thank you. Okay, so get my notes here.
Before lecture chant.
Thank you. And
Unsurpassed, penetrating, and perfect Dharma is rarely met with, even in 100,000 million kalpas. Having it to see and listen to remember and accept, I vow to taste the truth of the Tathagata's words.
okay. Oh, I forgot to mention, if you cannot attend the practice period tea this Sunday, and you want to do the Shakyo sutra copying with your own page, send me your name and address, and I can send you a Xerox copy of the page, a sheet of tracing paper, and a pen, and a return stamped envelope. I sent out 3 yesterday, and they probably won't get returned in time, but that doesn't matter. We'll incorporate you as best we can. So that holds true for anybody on Zoom as well. Okay? So just send me your name and address. That's all you have to do. Okay? All right. So I have to stop it. We're stopping at 11:15, Chris? Right. So I have that until for talking time and group discussion. All right. So I wanted to talk to you today again some more about the delusion of separation and how a kind word or just a hug, can make all the difference to someone who's feeling a little down or who might be on the edge. We never know what is going on in other people's lives, no matter how well we know them. And kindness and compassion go so far. I can't tell you from my own personal experiences how it makes a huge, huge difference. Just this morning, I got a couple of nice warm hugs from Susan and, excuse me, and, excuse me, and it just made all the difference in how I feel today. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And whether you're the one who extended the kindness or to someone you know, or you were the receiver of this kindness, it goes to these actions create a collective well-being. I love that phrase, a collective well-being. So the good vibes you put out there really do have a very positive impact. So there have been times in my life, and I'm sure you've all had them, when you've extended kindness to someone you might or might not be acquainted with. Maybe, I don't know, I have this practice when I'm in the supermarket, standing in line, I'll look behind me to see if there's someone who has just a few things, and I always let them buy. This happened, last year this happened, and in Lake County there, it's a very poor county, and this couple who was standing behind me in the Safeway, they had I could tell they were paying with food stamps, EBT, and they had just a couple of little items. So I said, yeah, come on, go ahead of me. And they were very, very happy and grateful. And the woman turned around and she wanted to give me $1. And I said, oh, no. I mean, I was thinking to myself, I shouldn't be taking this money. they are struggling as it is. And then I realized, wait a minute, no giver, no receiver. They wanted to express their gratitude. I took the $1, and then after they left, I put it in a charity box. But there was that lovely little exchange that went on there that I hope contributed to the collective well-being, whatever. And I hope that all of us do this as Buddhist practitioners. And it's also, I learned long ago that, and I've talked about this before, when I'm feeling sad or angry and depressed, one way that I have to step away from that is to renew that connection to the universe, as it turns out. Renew that connection and sometimes it takes a great will of effort to step outside of my selfish depression. And I don't mean selfish in terms of whacking myself over the head, but in terms of just being self-involved, because depression is a very self-centered affliction. If I step outside of myself, it really does take away, or not take away, alleviate that and renews that connection. So when I was living in Japan, this was a long time ago in the early mid-80s, Japan was still opening itself up to the world. Culturally, it was very, and it still is, I'm sorry to say, somewhat closed culture. They have very fixed ideas about things. So seeing this, blonde-haired, I used to have blonde hair, blue-eyed foreigner in the countryside made them, startle them. And I would, part of my job was taking trains out into the countryside to various Japanese companies and teaching English. And I have to get on the train from Nagoya out to the countryside, and invariably, if there were students on the train, they would either stare at me, or they would just, gaijin, foreigner. And it got old really fast, as you can imagine. And I got very defensive about this. And it wasn't just aimed at me, it was everybody, every foreigner. And I got kind of tired of being angry all the time. And I realized I wasn't the most pleasant person to be around, being so angry. And subtext disconnected, okay, in the context of the Heart Sutra, looking back, yes. So I don't know how I came upon this idea that I would do something nice instead of being angry. So there's a rule. It's a kind of an unwritten rule that you give your seat to an elder person. You just do. So I started to do this as a regular practice. And lo and behold, the anger really did start to dissipate. I started to feel better about myself, and I started to put distance between myself and the starers and the pointers. If that happened, I would just get up and move, instead of standing my ground, which yielded nothing positive. And then, to cap off the situation, I realized that they treated each other like this. And then I started to feel empathy for the people in Japan. It's a very rigid society. They have to live this 24/7. I was able to escape. I go to my own culture, I go back to my own country, and I don't live under these strictures. So I hate to say, I grew up a little bit by realizing and by having empathy for their situation. So in the opposite situation, I've been on the receiving end, and I know everyone here has, of compassion and kindness. And I and pretty sure that without a doubt it left you feeling much better about yourself and much more connected to the world. And I want to finish up because I want to have a lot of time for discussion to relate to you this John Kabat-Zinn passage I saw about the delusion of separation. He says, and I quote, "The delusion of separation blames others, creates enemies, and fosters separation. The truth is, we are not separate." You knew that, right? You knew that, yeah. In a larger sense, war, economic injustice, racism, and environmental destruction stem from the illusion of separateness. It is delusion that separates us from other humans, the trees, and the oceans on this increasingly small planet. And you know we are an increasingly small planet. You cannot escape that. Collective well-being, there's that lovely phrase again, arises when we govern by wisdom and loving kindness instead of fear. Human beings should refrain from causing harm to one another and not allow their actions to be based on hatred and greed, said the Buddha, in words that speak directly to modern times. They should refrain from killing, from stealing. They should refrain from occupations that bring suffering, from weapons trade, from any actions that bring the enslavement of others. Through these words, he was not proclaiming a religious code. I love this. He was providing a social psychology for the happiness of individuals and the collective. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
I love that. In facing the truth that we are not separate, we choose to bear witness to our personal and collective suffering with compassion. It is a practice, after all, not a philosophy. And that practice is called waking up from the delusions, the fragmentations, the abdications, the fabrications of our own misperceptions. It is called freeing ourselves from what appears to be apartness, when in fact, at the deepest of levels, we truly belong, have always been seamlessly woven into the whole, are already at home here, in this moment, with this breath, in this place. By cultivating compassion, we can free ourselves from the delusion of separation, the separation of me from myself, and me from you, and I from thou, the familiar you, love that, the suffering that stems from it, and the need to guard against it. It is called freeing ourselves from what appears to be apartness, when in fact at the deepest levels we truly belong, have always been seamlessly woven into the whole, are already at home here in this moment with this breath, in this place. Thank you. So, we've got 20 minutes now for a group discussion. Lots of